You're watching Wrestling Thoughts.
Welcome back, Zaravians. Goji is calling. You're watching the most must-see wrestling talk show from Western Europe, based on the storylines and action from WWE. Today, my friend Dion07 will join me, and together we will provide you the top 15 WWE Elimination Chambers matches of all time. So put your butts on a couch, let your mind go, and relax, because we are about to start in a few seconds. After you finish watching this video, be prepared to check D107 YouTube channel, subscribe, give him thumbs up to all his dope videos, and share it worldwide. We start a little recap of the best 15 WWE Elimination Chamber matches of all time. Whenever an Elimination Chamber match appears on the WWE calendar, everyone knows something epic is coming up. These matches are very exciting and unpredictable, but it is not something that happens very often, and that is why every year the fans try to enjoy it as much as possible. Number 15. Roman Reigns vs. Braun Strowman vs. John Cena vs. Seth Rollins vs. Finn Bauer vs. Demys vs. Elias. This was the Braun Strowman show. At Elimination Chamber 2018, the Monster Among Men ripped through his opponents in the main event, eliminating Demys, Elias, John Cena, Finn Bauer, and Seth Rollins. He took care of every single competitor besides the eventual winner, Roman Reigns. It was a really fun match that showed that Braun could do, but of course, WWE didn't pull the trigger when he was smoking hot. With the win, Roman Reigns got a shot at the Universal Championship against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 34. Number 14. Randy Orton vs. Cesaro vs. Christian vs. Daniel Bryan vs. John Cena vs. Sheamus. Elimination Chamber 2014 was the pay-per-view right before WrestleMania 30, where WWE World Heavyweight Champion Randy Orton, fresh off combining both World Championships, successfully defended his title against his 5 opponents. The match received 3.75 stars from Dave Meltzer. Number 13. Demys and John Morrison vs. the Dirty Dogs vs. Heavy Machinery vs. Lucha House Party vs. the New Day vs. the Usos. This was the third time WWE Tag Team titles were defended in the Elimination Chamber, and according to Dave Meltzer, it was the best. Coming in at 4 stars, Demys and John Morrison successfully defended their SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The match was fast-paced and constantly entertaining, with teams like Heavy Machinery and Lucha House Party getting their chance to shine. The most memorable moment of the match came when Lince Dorado climbed the structure from the inside and dropped on all of his opponents in a crazy wrestling spot. Number 12. Drew McIntyre vs. AJ Styles vs. Jeff Hardy vs. Kofi Kingston vs. Randy Orton vs. Sheamus. At Elimination Chamber 2021, Drew McIntyre defended his WWE Championship against a stacked field of wrestling veterans that included Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Kofi Kingston, Sheamus, and Jeff Hardy. Meltzer awarded the match 4 stars, which was well deserved. As good as the match was, the most memorable moment occurred after the bout, when Demys successfully cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase on McIntyre, after an infuriated Bobby Lashley demolished the champion. Number 11. Jack Swagger vs. Randy Orton vs. Chris Jericho vs. Mark Henry vs. Kane vs. Daniel Bryan. This was probably the best match of Jack Swagger, better known as Jack Hager, in AEW. In WWE, as he eliminated Randy Orton and won the Elimination Chamber match in a great way, since he was never among the best of the roster, but still he surprised everyone with his victory. Swagger's performance was phenomenal, but obviously the other wrestlers also deserve credit for doing an excellent job in the ring. Randy Orton, Kane, Mark Henry, Daniel Bryan and Chris Jericho all did a fantastic job. Number 10. Triple H vs. JBL vs. Omaga vs. Chris Jericho vs. Shawn Michaels vs. Jeff Hardy. On February the 17th, 2008, at No Way Out, Triple H won an Elimination Chamber match and earned a WWE Championship shot at WrestleMania 24. The bout was very fun to watch, with chaos in the ring at all times. There were several great moments like the Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels duel to start the match, John Bradshaw Layfield attacking the others with steel chairs, or when each superstar performed their signature moves on Umaga, including a Jeff Hardy's Swanton bomb from the top of the pot. Number 9. John Cena vs. CM Punk vs. John Morrison vs. Sheamus vs. Randy Orton vs. R-Truth. At Elimination Chamber 2011, the ring was full of talent: the experienced R-Truth, the skilled John Morrison, rising star Sheamus, and three of the best wrestlers in the world at the time: John Cena, Randy Orton, and CM Punk. So a good show was guaranteed. This match lasted just over 33 minutes and ended in the best possible way. CM Punk eliminated John Morrison to go face-to-face with his biggest rival in WWE, John Cena, who was the winner of the match after hitting an attitude adjustment to Punk. This was one of the triggers for one of the best rivalries in the history of the company. Number 8. Daniel Bryan vs. Cesaro vs. Jey Uso vs. Kevin Owens vs. King Corbin vs. Sami Zayn. The Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in 2021 produced two high-quality chamber matchups. This one opened the night as Daniel Bryan overcame Cesaro, Kevin Owens, King Corbin, Jey Uso and Sami Zayn in an exhilarating affair. With the names involved, it's not surprising that Dave Meltzer gave this match 4.25 stars. With the win, Bryan was guaranteed a shot at the Universal Championship that same night. However, Roman Reigns, being the opportunistic tribal chief, challenged a tired and beaten Bryan immediately after the brutal match, beating him in a little over a minute. Number 7. Edge vs. Rey Mysterio vs. Kane vs. Drew McIntyre vs. Big Show vs. Wade Barrett. This match also took place on the 2011 Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Edge outlasted his 5 opponents and won the second Elimination Chamber match of his career. Rey Mysterio and Edge were the first two and also the last two men standing, but it was Edge who was victorious after performing a spear on Mysterio as he fell from the top rope. The brutal power of Kane and the Big Show, the yacht of Drew McIntyre, and the skill of Wade Barrett, Edge and Rey Mysterio made this match extraordinary. Number 6. Triple H versus The Undertaker versus Jeff Hardy versus Big Show versus Vladimir Kosov versus Edge. On February the 15th, 2009, at No Way Out, an Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Heavyweight title was held. This match had one of the best final twos in history, with The Undertaker and Triple H fighting fiercely for the belt. In the end, the game defeated the Deadman to win the 4th Elimination Chamber of his career, which is a record and his 13th world title. The match was incredible, so no wonder it received 4.25 stars from Dave Meltzer. Number 5. Edge versus Rey Mysterio versus Chris Jericho versus John Cena versus Mike Knox versus Kane. That same night, Edge, who had been eliminated by Jeff Hardy in the previous Elimination Chamber match, attacked Kofi Kingston and replaced him in the main event of the pay-per-view. The Rated R Superstar entered at number 5, eliminated John Cena and Rey Mysterio and won the match. Number 4. Triple H versus Randy Orton versus Batista versus Chris Jericho versus Edge. Once again, Triple H is responsible for one of the best Elimination Chamber matches in history, and it's no wonder that this match was rated 4.25 stars from Dave Meltzer, considering the enormous talent in the ring. This match took place at New Year's Revolution 2005. This bout had it all: moments of technique, moments of hard hitting and intensity, and even controversy, since Shawn Michaels was the special referee and super kicked Edge out of the match. This match was set up Batista's eventual betrayal of Evolution. Finally, Triple H eliminated Randy Orton to become World Heavyweight Champion. Number 3. Shawn Michaels versus Triple H versus Chris Jericho versus Kane versus Booker T versus Rob Van Dam. This was the first Elimination Chamber match in WWE history, so there were high expectations about it, as the fans were about to see something totally innovative. The wrestlers all explored every spot that would influence the match for years to come, with RVD jumping off a pot and Chris Jericho being thrown through a pot by Kane. Shawn Michaels, in a comeback story for the ages, defeated his opponents and walked out of the chamber with the gold. Obviously, this match had a huge impact on WWE history and the fans loved it. Number 2. Bray Wyatt versus AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose versus Demys versus Baron Corbin versus John Cena. On February the 12th, 2017, at Elimination Chamber, Bray Wyatt stole the show by eliminating John Cena and AJ Styles to win the Elimination Chamber match and obtain the WWE Championship for the first and only time in his career. This match was truly great from start to finish, especially the unexpected ending, since among so many talented wrestlers, only very few bet on Bray Wyatt. And number 1. Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles versus Randy Orton versus Samoa Joe versus Kofi Kingston versus Jeff Hardy. Without a doubt, this was one of the best WWE matches of 2019. So you could say that Dave Meltzer is right in giving it 4.5 stars. At Elimination Chamber 2019, Daniel Bryan had to defend the WWE title inside the Elimination Chamber, and he was the first in the ring, so retaining the title was not an easy task. However, Bryan beat the odds with a masterful performance of more than 36 minutes and managed to win the match and retain the title. This would also continue the story of Kofi Mania, which culminated at WrestleMania 35. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and to the channel of D107. Give me a thumbs up if you believe that I deserve it. Click the bell button. Stay safe. And see you very, very soon.